And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report. Today, on the 23rd of August, 2026, where we talk the box office, the good, the bad, the ugly, and why things succeed, why they fail. From Spider-Man Brand New Day to the end of Oak Street. Spider-Man Brand New Day debuts at 39. Well, debuts. Yeah, 39 million. They'd be like, what happened? Made 39 million in its fourth week, dropping only 44.8%. Insidious Out of the Further debuts at 25.3. The Odyssey makes 19.5 million, dropping another 17.4%. Paw Patrol: The Dino Movie made another 9.1%, dropping 55.1%. 9.1 million. And The End of Oak Street made another 9 million, dropping 57.2%. Look, Spider-Man Brand New Day is still the big boy on the block. I thought there was a chance Insidious was going to overtake it. Its Friday number was actually bigger than Spider-Man's Friday number. But the weekend comes in, Saturday and Sunday come in clutch for Spider-Man to basically overtake it. The horror is doing very well in 2026. But currently Spider-Man stands as the at 854.9 million domestically, with 2.219.9 billion, or 2.220 billion if you want to get technical. So this puts it domestically currently as the third highest grossing film domestically all time. It is only about 3-ish million away, give or take, from overtaking Avengers Endgame to be the second highest. Worldwide, it currently stands as it says sixth here, it's really the fifth highest grossing film of all time. It will almost certainly pass Titanic this week, and I do believe it will still reach the numbers of Avatar: Way of Water. It is slowing down both domestically and internationally, but I still think it can hit the number 3 spot all time. That's where I think it will stand, though. Whatever it makes after that, it's not catching another, what would it have to catch? Minimum. Let's see, 4, 6, 4. It'd have to make another $464-ish million to be able to catch Endgame, which it's not going to do. So the question now just becomes, because there's only 2 feathers in its cap it has left to really take, because it will now become the highest grossing domestic MCU movie of all time. No. And the highest grossing Sony movie of all time, domestically and internationally. But no. The question that needs to be asked, ultimately, is it going to be able to catch the Force Awakens domestic number? The Force Awakens has yet, even with Endgame coming out, was yet to be topped. Endgame became the second highest all time. It did not really get close enough to Endgame. Spider-Man Brand New Day is in its fourth week, but it's clearly still got gas left in the tank domestically. This is actually my second time doing this, so I've done the rough numbers on it. We round that up to 855, roughly, because it's already at 854.9. Might as well round up to 5. That means roughly it's got to make about 82 million more. Now, if we just look at the day-to-day real quick, or the domestic real quick, its drops have been pretty good for a movie like this. Dropped 60% the second week, but it's the highest opening weekend of all time. 51 the next. Honestly, that's a really good drop for a second weekend, especially with that number. And then 44.8 this weekend. It still will not have any strong competition for a good couple of weeks. Now, Practically Magic 2, I do think will probably top it, but that's not going to be a big hurdle for it to do, given the fact that it's going to be most likely in its 6th to 7th week at that point. No, actually, maybe even farther than that. 6th, 7th, maybe 8th week at the box office. If something doesn't beat it at that point, here's a weak-ass September at the box office. But to be fair, September isn't that strong this year. But the question is, what are the drops going to be? Let's just take the day-to-day, day in, day out of the equation. If we look at this from the perspective of there's still nothing really competing with it, nothing taking a lot of its audiences away, it would not be unrealistic to see it be somewhere in the low 20s next week. Let's just say 20. Just be a safe number, 20. The following week, it could still drop less than 50, so I'm going to say somewhere in the low teens. Let's just say 12. Then you're getting into the single digits, but you're still going to be looking at like 9s and 7 and 8 for at least a few more weeks. Just based on like that math alone, you're looking at a film that still has at least 50 million domestically just in the weekend numbers. Which means if we just look at, say, it caps out at 50, that means it will still need to hit about 34 million And that's assuming it caps out at 50, it doesn't go higher. But that's not including the day-to-day. Now, the day-to-day is shrinking, no doubt. It did make roughly 30 from Monday to Thursday this week. So you're probably looking at more along the lines of maybe 20 million this week. But that's still 20 million this week. Then you factor in the next week, you're looking at probably closer to like low teens. So 12 million. But right there, that's your 32 million right there. So yeah, the thing is, we always got to factor in both the day-to-day as well as the weekend, right? So, I mean, looking at that math, and again, my math could be way off, is the math, I feel like the amount it makes, at least this week, I'm probably in the right ballpark with. Everything else is just speculatory. And to be fair, even that's speculatory, what my prediction for this coming week. But, I mean, you do the math, that means it could very easily still catch The Force Awakens. Now, is it going to be like, is it going to just jump past it and become the first billion-dollar film domestically? No, it does not have that left in the tank. It would have to still be making like 50 million or something like that domestically and be at like 898 million just to be in the conversation if it can hit $1 billion at this point. I think the billion conversation is out the window. But I still think it can become the all-time highest domestic. I still very much think that. I'd even put money down. I'm not saying I'd put $1 million or anything. If I had it down, I would never bet with $1 million unless I had $1 billion and just decided to be, bored. But look, hey, I'm a gambler. I gotta play cards every week. I'll put my card. I put my poker entry every weekend. $31 because $1 goes to the club. So I put that down that it could still hit $1 billion, and it will hit $1 billion, or not billion. Sorry, it could still beat Force Awakens, and I think it will beat Force Awakens. Now, I don't think it's gonna surpass it by a huge number. I don't think it's going to surpass it by like 40 million to make like 976, but 940, 950, maybe 960 at the highest level, and that's me being generous. Really, realistically, I think it's going to cap out at about 945, 950. But I still think it's going to do it. I'm holding on to it. It's going to do it. What do you think it's going to do? Let me know. Insidious out of the further debuts at $25.3 million, making worldwide with a 35 international $60 million, which for a movie made on $18 million is a damn good opening weekend. Yeah, for whatever reason, the Insidious franchise really caught on, and they can make these movies very much like the Conjuring films on bus fare by movie budget standards and make a nice chunk of money back. It's particularly because the budget, I don't remember this film really being advertised a lot. I mean, it was advertised, don't get me wrong, and I do remember the trailers for it. But it's not like it was everywhere. I would say anywhere from 20 to 25 million in a marketing budget. If we lowball that to the 20, this film made its money back, and it's now all profit from here on out. If it's the 25, it will be doing that by the end of the week. Horror seems to be doing very well this year. And admittedly, I think that we do have to give some thanks to Gen Z on that front. Gen Z seems to be very interested in horror as of late. Now, not every horror movie. I don't think that's the case. I mean, there's horror movies that came out that Gen Z did not come out and support. But that being said, obviously, Obsession came out and just did insane numbers. In fact, let me get the worldwide right here. I think Obsession has now left the theaters. Oh, Obsession did actually, in fact, cross 1.5 million. Hold on, is Obsession in this list here? I didn't see it. It's not here, but I guess it is still playing in a couple theaters, so okay. So it did actually cross. Amazingly, Obsession was able to do it. It was able to cross 500 million. So I can hats off to it, man. Hats off to the little movie that could. That is the literal definition of the little movie that could. But yeah, Obsession. Backrooms made almost 400 million on a very low budget. A24's highest grossing film. There were a couple films that came out that were horror-based that no one cared about this year, which is fine. You can't judge them for that. Scream, though, still counts as horror, I guess, and that did very well. Scary Movie isn't horror, but it's horror parody and spoof as a comedy, and that did exceptionally well, all things considered. So, yeah, and now we got this. Oh, and Evil Dead Rise came out and did okay. It didn't, Evil Dead Burn, not Rise. Rise of the previous one. Evil Dead Burn made 71. The Mummy made more than that. What was it? Lee Cronin's The Mummy made 90 million, which again, low budget, so it actually did fairly well for itself. So honestly, a lot of these films came out and did pretty well, all things considered. So horror seems to have a big attraction for the Gen A, Gen Z crowds right now, which is going to be very interesting when October comes because we have Other Mommy and Clayface coming out. I am particularly interested to see what Clayface is going to do because that really does seem like cross-audience appeal. You got the comic fans who know Clayface, but if you don't know Clayface, this still looks like a freaky-ass body horror movie. So, yeah, that's real. That looks like it's going to be interesting to watch. But as it stands, yeah, I mean, horror is having a good time at the box office. Plus, it's an existing franchise that hasn't really gone away at all. If we look at all the Insidious movies, Insidious, I always do that, like turn into Notorious. Like the first one was in 2010, and they just keep going. The last one was The Red Door in 2023. So that was only 3 years ago. Previously to that, it was The Last Key, which was 5 years to that. Then previous to that, it was Chapter 3, which was 3 years prior to that. Chapter 2 was 2 years prior to that. And the original was 3 years prior to that. So unlike something like, say, Mad Max, which wasn't even that big of a hit to begin with, gave us a prequel, which was really good. Furiosa is a really good film. But due to almost 8 years in between the last, I'm sorry, the nostalgia factor wasn't there. If you were wanting to do the sequel, you had to capitalize on that shit right then and there. Like, give it 2 or 3 years and then, come off the hype you were getting off it. The film barely made its money back, too. So, Insidious is one of those franchises, however, that has just been able to be consistent in terms of quality and the reception. Same with The Conjuring. Conjuring did the exact same thing. That's why the last one made all the money, or made as much money as it did. But then you also can do the opposite. You can have, we keep making this. People know this franchise, right? Like The Strangers. But if you make it crap, no one's going to care about these movies. So, yeah, and same with like Halloween, where it's like, you had the trilogy, but the first one was great, the second one not so good. It was okay, and then the third one came out, and it's just like, what are you doing now? So anyway, though, speaking of movies that are successful, The Odyssey Man earned $19.5 million, currently sitting now at $1.446 billion. Now, this puts it currently as the second highest grossing film of the year. It will most likely stay there until Doomsday comes out. First off, I don't think besides Doomsday we really have a movie that has a good shot at the $1 billion club. If I were to throw a dark horse suggestion out there for one, Cat in the Hat. And really, it's just because Illumination has made billion-dollar animated films before. It is going to be very popular going into the Thanksgiving and holiday season. That'd be my one outside shot guess. As it stands right now, The Odyssey is the 19th highest grossing film of all time, directly behind Barbie. It might actually even cross Barbie by the end of the day when the actuals come in tomorrow. But if it doesn't, it crosses it the next day, guaranteed. It's going to cross Frozen 2. That's a guarantee. Probably going to cross Fire and Ash. I don't know if I'd say that one's a lock, but probably likely. Top Gun Maverick, assuming that we're just talking about I didn't realize Top Gun Maverick actually made more than the 1.4 it did. Huh. They must have done a re-release of it at some point. Or it finally got like an international number, or it played somewhere internationally that I wasn't, it doesn't matter. Good for Top Gun Maverick. But yeah, where do I think to see this ending? Assuming that it's still got some international left in the tank too. I mean, this realistically could end up somewhere in the 1.6 range. And good luck having another R-rated movie come out to beat that number anytime soon. Again, the question just comes down to why? Why did it do so well? And why is it still doing so well? I mean, the name Christopher Nolan is one of the only director names that when someone hears it, even household names kind of know of Christopher Nolan. The guy who did The Dark Knight, the Batman movies, right? Yeah, he did that movie too. Oh, he did that movie, yeah. or the people who actually know, oh, he did Oppenheimer. Okay. But yeah, you hear Christopher Nolan, it's the it's the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of, you had my curiosity, now you have my attention. So there's that. The quality of the movie just speaks for itself, so that certainly helps. But, and I mean, it's a lot of actors people like in there too. I think the cast is actually very attractive as a cast. I don't mean just physically, obviously. They're all physically very attractive people. I mean, like, in terms of the talent you have behind there. You had Spider-Man, Tom Holland in there, which I think also helps because he also had Brand New Day coming out too. I think that does help it. You also had Jon Bernthal, not that he was in a lot of the trailers, but he was in there. Anne Hathaway is very hot right now, especially coming off The Devil Wears Prada 2. Matt Damon is always a very respective actor. Same with Robert Pattinson. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, this makes this the highest movie of Anne Hathaway's career. In fact, I can just look here to be sure. Yeah, Anne Hathaway is not in any of these other movies. The highest film of Matt Damon's career, the highest film of Jon Bernthal's career, not surprisingly the highest film of Zendaya's career. That would be Spider-Man Brand New Day. No, and it's not Jon Bernthal's career. That's also Brand New Day. Not Tom Holland's career. That's still Endgame. But Robert Pattinson's career as well. It's just, yeah, man. But again, also the story of the Odyssey is one that a lot of people read in school, so they knew it, but they haven't reread it in probably a long time. So it really is one of those things where they knew the story, and then they see like the way Christopher Nolan is depicting it, like, okay, that seems epic. And that's the other thing. The IMAX screenings helped it, and when you see something like this in IMAX, the word of mouth probably gets spread like wildfire. But beyond that, it really is an event film. Like Spider-Man is an event film, but this is also an event. It is a historical fantasy epic. And I think that really played a factor to it. Beyond that, the movie just speaks for itself quality-wise. If you didn't enjoy it, That's your opinion. You're welcome to it. Just know that most people enjoyed it. So it's, yeah. But man, and honestly, if we do the math real quick, what is actually the profit range on this film right now? Because you got to do the 20% that Nolan and his wife actually get off the, off the gross, of the original run. So 20% of this, let's see, that's 1.5, it's roughly 288. So you subtract 288 million off of this, and you're looking at, let's see here, 420. So that means 580. So 1.1580, $1,158 million. And then you take the third that the studios take their cut from. Oof, that's going to be a little bit hard to do. Hold on. The third. Okay. And again, I'm doing this rough math in my head right now. I could get a calculator and do it instantly, but where's the fun in that? So, okay, that's 3, carry the 2, that's 8, carry the 1, and that's 6. So 386 million off of that. Subtract 158 from that. And you're looking roughly at a film that ultimately makes about, let's see, that's 700 some odd when it's all said and done. But luckily the film total is made on 375. So then you just subtract the 375 and the film still managed to rake in at least 300 million in profit, minimum for Universal. So, yeah. And it's still making money. So it was a film that definitely needed to do a lot to break even, but it did it. So good on them. It was a film roughly, if you do the math on that, let's see, 900, roughly 720. Take the third out. Okay, it would have had to have hit, in order for the third to have actually mattered, yeah, it would have had to have made at least somewhere in the neighborhood of like 800 million to break even minimal. But it did it. It did it, and it's profitable. It's going to be up for Oscars. You know it is. So good for it. Absolutely. Couldn't have happened to a better movie. Paw Patrol, the Dino movie, made 9.1 million. The movie is made on 40 million. I I'm not surprised it dropped as much as it did. I mean, these films do well enough for their own, or on their own, but they're not like the end all be all of movies. You know what I mean? They are for younger kids. They're like even kids like under 10. I'd say it's more attractive to them than say kids over the age of 10. I did not go see it. Because I'm just kind of having to tighten my belt a little bit on the movies I see for a little bit. Once in a while, still I'm going to try to get out a double feature when I can, but right now, not so much. By the way, I will still see Coyote vs. Acme this week, but the day I normally go see, the Thursday I normally have off to go see movies, I actually am working, but I have the Friday off the following day. So most likely I'll just catch a early showing of that after when I get during the day, and then I'll do a review of that. But still, look, 103 million. You do the math, rough math, and you're looking at a film that's made somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 some odd million. The film probably has about 20-ish million in marketing. So I mean, at worst, it broke even. And it's only in its second week, so it's going to clearly make more. It will be just fine profit-wise. Now, unfortunately, it's not really enough to clear Paramount's debt. I'm probably going to actually do a video in the coming weeks. Not this week because it's the week of who would win. If I got some time, I might do the video. But I want to talk about Paramount and what Paramount, I think, should have done with trying to get rid of their giant-ass debt instead of trying to buy more studios. Because, it looks like that Paramount thing is not going through. I mean, there's still avenues that could happen, but it's less and less likely. Like, they got like a very small percent chance they could still make it happen. But honestly, I'm not upset about it at all. I'd rather have Warner Brothers stay Warner Brothers. Not even be bought. Or at the very minimum, have Netflix buy them, because honestly, nothing really would have changed. If anything, Netflix would have improved. They would have been able to be a part of the movie industry. Warner Brothers would have functioned the same. Paramount on the other hand, they were going to gut that thing and strip mine it. Yeah, no. End of Oak Street made $9 million, dropping 57.2%. I wish I could say I was surprised, because I like this film quite a bit. And honestly, it's not for the budget it's made on, like 80 to 90 something. I want to say it's like 84 to 92 is the predicted amount, which means when you add it up, that's roughly, I want to say, if you meet in the middle, it's like 88 million, I want to say, right? About 88 million on average, with maybe about 30 to 50 million of marketing, maybe. Either way, it's not the worst. It still actually could get there, surprisingly. It's at 85 right now. But again, it was one of those films that was a flash in the pan, didn't open strong. It's a shame, because I think people should give it a shot. But there's other things out. Spider-Man's still out. End of Oak Street's still out. Odyssey's still out, I mean. So, while I wish better for it, I can't say I'm ultimately that shocked by the number. I can't. Now, I am actually surprised it's not higher, if I'm being honest. And I think that does actually go towards the movie being solid, being a decent movie. But I just don't... Let me put it this way. If the international continues to come through for this movie, and if next week comes and I look at this and go, it's only jumped up to 140, I'll be like, well, hold on. Maybe there's a chance I can make its money back. You're not ever getting a sequel. Even as this film had made like 300 million, you're never getting a sequel to it. It's not a film that really, I mean, there's ways you could do a sequel, but it's not a film that was really designed for a sequel. Speaking of which, Mutiny. Films aren't designed for sequels. And Lionsgate just has been having rough luck with certain things. They had Michael, which is a big hit, and thank God for that. But Mutiny, the next in a long line of Jason Statham films that just don't do anything at the box office. My review for it's up. I think it's a decent action film. It's not anything special. It's got some moments, definitely some really good kills. Jason Statham is always cool, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this is not enough. The film's made on about 40 to 50 million. So about 45 million. not factoring in the admittedly low-level marketing budget it had. Probably not much more than like 10 to 20 million. Well, maybe not 10, but 15 to 20 million. So you're looking at a film, roughly speaking, made on about 65 million at most. Which means it had to hit about 100 million. It'd have to do Beekeeper numbers basically to be profitable. This film on 7.5 million isn't going to do that. Unless the international numbers come out and all of a sudden it does gangbuster numbers, it is not doing that. So I guess the question is, why have lately the Jason Statham films like Shelter and Mutiny not really done very well? And because Working Man didn't necessarily bomb, but it didn't actually do all that great either. Beekeeper, it was definitely carrying some goodwill from Beekeeper, definitely. Beekeeper was a bit of a surprise hit. Not like super profitable or anything, but made decent money. It made a solid amount of money, and it was a legitimately good action film. It's my favorite of these new era, definitely. So why didn't Mutiny and why didn't Shelter take off? Well, I think the marketing isn't the best. Plus, word of mouth probably isn't helping. Let's get to Rotten Tomatoes real quick here. I'll also look up Shelter, too, because Shelter, if I remember correctly, did not have the best reviews. But let's see here. Mutiny. Where does Mutiny stand on the audience side and the critic side? Because Beekeeper actually had some decent, solid enough reviews. Mutiny, 51%, so just over half of the critics like it. And Mutiny has 86 from the audience, so that's good. Let's see here. Shelter. Oh, man, I can't shelter. It's just a night away. It's just a sign away. Oh, shelter. Okay. It's just a shot away. It's just a... sorry, I always think of Rolling Stones when I do that. The storm is rising. I'm amazed they didn't do some sort of remix of the storm of that song in the trailer, not the movie, the trailer. Because we got Shelter actually had 64%, so it's got better reviews than Mutiny. I'll be honest, I think it's the least impressive of these films, mostly just because I think the action is shot terribly. And then let's see, Working Man. Was last year, and it did. What was it? Its reviews. I remember it not having the best reviews. It was a far cry from what we got with something like The Beekeeper or something like that. And even Beekeeper didn't have stellar reviews critically. It just had solid reviews. It just had okay reviews. Okay, come on. Where are my numbers? Okay. 46%. But again, the audience liked it well enough, 86, which seems to be a pattern. And then Beekeeper. What did Beekeeper do? Because Beekeeper is the most profitable of them. I think it is the best critically reviewed of them as well. Let's see here now. Jason Statham just staring me down like, oh, you want to do this? I'm going to give you a chance to get out of here. Yeah, no, don't have to ask me twice. Because I'd rather fight a grizzly bear than go up against Jason Statham. At least if I somehow manage to kill the grizzly bear, I don't get in trouble. But let's see here now. Okay, where to watch Oh yeah, I don't care about where to watch. Cheerful, undemanding, and enjoyable retrograde. The keeper booze that comes dispensing action that hasn't lost its sting. I like that. Okay, but let's see. 71%, 92%. So it is the highest rated of these Jason Statham movies, whereas this one is actually the second lowest. Which, ironically, I think it is the second best of them. But I think it's just kind of the law of diminishing returns, right? Working Man wasn't quite as good as The Beekeeper. Shelter really wasn't as good as even Working Man. But Mutiny is actually pretty solid, but because of that, it's the law of diminishing returns, I think. But with Beekeeper 2 coming out, I think it's next year, who knows? We might see something. Tony, which is, I believe, what is that again? Anthony Bourdain, that's right. I believe it's like a biopic kind of, A24. Got wide release, good for it. Fast and Furious, re-release. Teenage Sex and Death, I Can't My Asthma. There's nothing I can really say about that. The Magic Faraway Tree. Recreates the country when children discover a magical tree with eccentric residents. They transported to fantastic lands, rekindling their family bonds through adventure. I saw a trailer for that. It did look kind of charming. I won't lie. It looked kind of charming. Toy Story 5 made a little over $1 million. 1.127, so $1.28 billion. I mean, it's pretty capped out, but it'll end up adding an extra couple million to its run before the end of its run ends. Minions did, if we go to the worldwide real quick here, did manage to cross also over $500 million, a little over Obsession, which is good. Not for Obsession, but I just mean in general. So good for it. Again, proves that they can still kind of run with the big boys, even at their low. They can run with the big boys. Brink of War, Moana. Brink of War just kind of coming. It's going to be one of those films that comes and goes. Moana still keeps kind of creeping along, which I find impressive. $306 million. For many films, if Mutiny had made that, they would have been. They're like, yes, more Mutiny 2. What are some of the other films on here? This list that if they made that, they'd be happy. Hell, even if Obsession had to, if the Dino movie does that, if End of Oakshot done that, they'd be happy, popping champagne bottles. But when your film's budget is $250 million, and $50 million that probably went to the goddamn Rock. Let's be honest. I do enjoy Dwayne Johnson, but man, I feel like he's a little overvalued. But he's a smart businessman. He gets what he feels he's earned, and good for him. But yeah, not so great. Ultimately, though, that is the box office this week. It's a solid box office, though. Now, I do believe, though, this is the first box office since Spider-Man came out that actually, no, it's not the first since Odyssey came out, where it's been 100+ million box office. I think this week, if we total it all up, going from 12th spot or number 1 to number 12 real quick, which is all over $1 million. Let's see, that would be what? 54, 54.8, 73.8, 73.9, 82.9. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. 91.9. Actually, no. It's still a $100 million plus weekend at the box office. Now, it doesn't go that far above it, somewhere in like the neighboring 110s, but it still did it. So good for it. Coyote vs. Acme is your, I guess, oh, there it is. How did I miss Dog Stars the initial time? Dog Stars and Coyote vs. Acme are your two big releases. I'm not going to lie. I don't see either of these making well, like above 20 million. Or honestly, not even really getting that close to 20 million, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying they don't make in the teens. I don't think they hit 20 million. Which means I'm still putting Spider-Man Brand New Day at number 1. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Because there's also a reasonable thought that Coyote vs. Acme is only going to make in the single digits, too. Same with Dog Stars. But do I go with my gut? Oh, there's also Odyssey. I got to factor Odyssey into this equation. I'd put Odyssey again at number 2, based on the drops it's taking. So, okay, then, you know what? Screw it. I'll go with my gut. I'm going to say Coyote vs. Acme. I'll then put Insidious. I'm going to put Dog Stars. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. They've been advertising it, yes. But I just don't know what the pulse of interest is on it. So that'd be my thoughts. But let me know what you think. Put in the comments below. Let me know. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.